episode 15 of my podcast. This is my fortnightly vlog about knitting, crochet, embroidery, spinning, yarn dyeing and anything else that seems like a good idea at the time. I'm coming to you from North Yorkshire in the north of England, where I live with my husband, our 3 daughters and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Mel Browne Crafting Podcast and on Ravelry as Funky40. We also have a Ravelry group for this podcast, which you can find by searching for me on the groups tab. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Show notes for this podcast are down below. So if you click on the link down below, it will take you to the Ravelry group for the podcast, and they're straight to the thread with all the links. So any patterns or people or anything else I mention, there'll be links there. And if there's anything I haven't put on, then just make a comment on YouTube or Ravelry and I will respond and answer it. So that's the introduction over. Hello. I'm in a new place today. The light in the front room in the mornings is not good, but I really do need to podcast in the morning if I'm going to get it all up the rest of the day. So I'm in the back of the house now. A few different things. Have you seen this? This is something that my friend, I've talked about her before, Amanda from Mooland Gifts made for me. It's like a Christmas wreath thing, but it's about knitting. It's absolutely stunning. So yeah, there's that. I didn't take it down with the Christmas decorations because I couldn't stand the thought of it spending 11 months of the year in a box in the attic. So, right, got a lot to get through today, so I'm going to crack straight on. We have, where are they now? We have lots of new whips on the block, a little bit about yarn festivals and some plans. So, getting started, where are they now? This is showing you what happened to the projects you've seen before. So there are 3 projects in hibernation, the 2 blankets and the Tunisian crochet design project that I'm doing. They're all just having a long sleep in a box, waiting for spring, actually waiting for after Christmas. And a 4th project is having a little nap in the corner, which is the wisteria trellis shawl. So I will come back to that. I don't think there's an awful lot more to do to finish that, but just now it's for me, and I'm pretty much focused on Christmas knitting. So they're all in various stages of sleep. So skew socks. I had a bit of a rant about these over the last couple of episodes, well, an anti-rant, because I'm so obsessed with the pattern. It's Lana Holden, it's a free pattern, it's just amazing, and I have knit I don't know how many pairs of it. I showed you them all, I think. So if you're interested in the construction of these funny socks, have a look at episode 13, but here they are, they're finished. So the pattern, as you can see, is just amazing. You come up the sock in stripes, but they're not going straight up your foot, they're going sideways. That's why it's called skew. When I look at this, if in editing, if it doesn't look like it's fully capturing the joy of them, I'll put in some pictures of me wearing them last night. But look at this. And the yarn is just perfect to show this pattern off. You have to pick the right yarn with skew. When I first did it, we had a knit along and a lot of people did it, and some people's yarns just didn't work. Unless you've done it a couple times, you don't know. But it needs to have obvious stripes, otherwise you miss out on all this beautiful detail. So what I'm using is the Knitting Goddess yarn, and it's in the colourway Lizard. So it's a 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon, standard knitting blend, but a blue faced Leicester in there quite a bit. So there they are beautiful. The thing with these is I've got quite big feet. I think the pattern calls for a 2.25mm and I use the 2.75, and that more or less gets them to the right size for me. I then have to fight with them, so to get them over my instep, this bit here is quite tight. But once they're on, they don't shift for anything. You know, sometimes socks fall down. No, never. They just cling on so tight. They fit like a glove once they're on. It's just getting them on that's a bit of a challenge. But there is a modification to the pattern for a larger instep, which I did follow once, but I can't actually recall why I don't do that on an ongoing basis. Anyway, here they are. They're beautiful. Happy with that. Right, I've got to try and work out where I'm putting everything today when I've done with it, so that I don't get confused, because I'm easily confused. Okay, so the final thing that you've already seen is Chevron Shenanigans. So this is a Stephen West pattern, and we are doing it as a knit along. Well, we're not doing it, we're doing a little knit along in the group. So anybody who wants to knit a Stephen West pattern of any kind can take part. It's called the West Along. I just thought I'd get a picture up of what it looks like, what a proper one looks like, rather than just my one. So here is, I showed you this last week. That's what it looks like. And mine is coming on very well. I'm choosing the small size, which has 4 colours, and I'm just about to introduce the 4th colour. And I don't normally see it like this because I use a small cable, but I've transferred it like I did last time. I'll transfer it onto a larger cable for you so that you can see it. And here it is. There's quite a lot of it. So I think the colours are working really, really well. We now have, let me think, 423 stitches. We're going to go up to 473. So, yeah, the rows are certainly taking a bit longer. There's 18 wedges, 18 or 19. I've got 2, excuse me, I've got 2 wedges left to go. One of them I'm going to stripe in the final colour, and then the other one I'm going to just do the final colour. So this isn't, yeah, the colours are coming out much better in the natural light, although I've blown out completely. There we go, that's a navy blue. So there'll be stripes of that in there for the next wedge, and then just this for the final wedge and the I-cord bind off. So I'd say it's nearly finished, but as I say, when each row is 400 and so stitches, just, you know, another 40 rows is quite a lot. But having said that, I do expect that we finish next time I speak to you. So I'm using some random yarns that I bought from a second-hand shop, kind of charity shop for craft stuff here called the Cone Exchange. I'll put a link into that. So I didn't know what they were. The actual fibre of it wasn't on the labels. But we did a bit of a test with matches last week, on episode 14 last time, and proved fairly conclusively that they were acrylic. So the 4th one, the navy blue, is definitely an acrylic. It's a Stylecraft. I bought that myself, new. So they're all acrylic yarns, which means of course it won't block. So I'm just hoping that it will be okay, but it's looking all right so far. So that's Chevron Shenanigans. If you fancy doing a Stephen West pattern, any Stephen West pattern, and you want a little bit of company and a little bit of encouragement, then pop along to the group on Ravelry, and there's a West Along thread. So come on there, say hi, tell us what pattern you want to do. There's kind of a nominal plan to start in August, but it's near the end of August now. It doesn't matter. Start when you want, and there's no finish date. There's just 3 of us at the moment, 2 of us making Chevron Shenanigans, and we've got Amy who's making Stripified. I saw that yesterday actually. It looks really lovely. It's a very different style pattern. So any Stephen West pattern that you want to do. Basically what we're sharing is the amazing architecture and the long rows. So, you know, we can be together in that experience. So if you want to do that, and then if you're posting any pictures, use the hashtag Westalong, and we'll catch them, and yeah, great. Right, so that's the stuff you've already seen. Now, I went on holiday, and I had a bit of a cast-on fest. For the first 5 days of my holiday, I started a new project every day, which is quite exciting. I did, well, not much more than sit around crocheting and knitting all day. Went to the beach. We were in Whitby, which is on the north, is in the north of England on the east coast, but the beach is actually facing north, which is a bit funny. and we weren't very close to the beach. We were kind of walking distance of the harbour, and then you can walk around the harbour to the beach. And so we were at the beach pretty much every day, but we had a lot of time in the house as well. And of course, evenings, I don't drink alcohol, so when everybody else was drinking in the evening, I was knitting. So got a lot of knitting time in. So let's start at the beginning. The first thing I did was the Love Scarf by... this was the first of many projects that I actually had to rip out. Oh no, I can't find it. Oh, is it in my loop bag? Yeah, it's in my loop bag. Yay! So, it's in some yarn, just fairly cheap acrylic yarn, but really lovely colours. This is for my littlest daughter. She's 12 for Christmas. So here it is. Little tassels on the end. The pattern suggests a 5mm hook, and in fact the yarn suggests a 5.5mm hook. So I made it with a 5mm, but I didn't like it. It was just too stiff. And there's a lot of chains in this. 200. Oh yeah, that's right. It was 251 chains, and that's for a man. And I thought, well, I'm doing it for a 12-year-old, so I'll do 200. And I got several rows into it, and you know, it's quite long rows. It was too stiff. I didn't like it. So, and I also didn't think it was long enough. So I ripped it out and started again with 251 rather than 201, and a 6mm hook. And I much prefer it. It's much more soft, and yeah, it's a good length as well. Could wear it any way she wants. Put some tassels on. It's really interesting to look at the gauge, because I'm a fairly experienced crocheter, but have a look at the way it... I'm not sure if I can... I'm really getting that across. Oh, there we go. Look, see, this edge is like a frill. It's much looser than this edge. So the cast on edge, if you can call it that in crochet, is actually looser. And it's not just the foundation chain. It's the first couple rows as well. I think that's to do with the fact that I frogged it and then I restarted it at home in the house. And then I did a lot of this on the beach. So I took it to the beach, crocheted actually on the beach, on the sand. Might have some pictures of that in the intro. And then we went to the fun fair. Me and my youngest went to the fun fair, and she was in there and running around in that in her costume, and I was just crocheting, sat on a table, at a table. So it's a bit like my Curacao socks. If you're an ongoing viewer, you'll have seen that the tension on my Curacao socks when I started the holiday got really tight, and that was to do with sun cream on my hands and salt on my skin. And I think it's the same with this. So that's part of the reason why the tension got tighter, but it's just really weird. So I've striped two different colours of the same kind of yarn. Oh yes, this is the baby. This is the stone wash of the same yarn. It's the Hobby Lobby. Is it Hobby Lobby? Where did I get that from? No. I love this yarn, stone wash. Who makes it? I don't know where I got the Hobby Lobby from, maybe from Ravelry. So that's striped with the other one that I already showed you, because I had planned to just use the one, but I didn't like it. Again, that the first one I made, I didn't like it, so I striped in the other thing. So made this sort of more or less twice. But there it is, very simple. It's just American single crochet, then a chain. So British double and a chain. Really simple. Free pattern. Okay, so that's my second Christmas present, all done and dusted. Adora. So this is a Christmas gift for my eldest daughter, who is 17. I even really hate it when your technology won't cooperate with you. So I saw this on Instagram and I thought, ooh, that would be perfect for her. So she wanted it in white. I showed you the yarn for that a little while ago, didn't I? So I bought a cotton acrylic blend from my local yarn shop, Yarn Etc. in Harrogate. And right, first of all I did a gauge swatch. I don't do gauge swatches. It's because I tend to do things that aren't size critical. I don't do gauge swatches, but I did one for this, and the pattern suggested a 5mm hook, but I couldn't get the stitch gauge with that, so I went up actually to a 6.5mm hook, and I got stitch gauge. That's 3 sizes bigger. That's quite a lot. I had a bit of a query with the pattern. That's something I didn't understand, and I messaged the designer, who I will already have put on the screen, the Easy Design. Actually, she's got a name as well. Oh, can't find her. I'll have put it up, won't I? I messaged her on Ravelry, and she responded within a day, I think, and answered my query, which is lovely. It's just so great. Ravelry is so ace, isn't it? And yeah, it's great when a designer takes the time to respond. So this is the yarn. It's 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. It's quite soft. It's almost chenille-like in its feel. It's really nice. Can you see that? Okay, so it's in a mess, as you can see. So I did quite a lot of it, and this is 278 chains to start, because you do the belt thing underneath first. And I'd done quite a bit of it, and I tried it on her, and it was way too big. So I ripped it out, and I redid it with the hook that was actually suggested in the pattern, which was a 5mm, and it was much better. And here it is. So it's nearly finished in the crochet part. So this is the back, and this is the left front, and the right front, and the belt that goes all the way around. So what I need to do, I tried to grab her last night, but she was busy. What I need to do is just check to see if that's all long enough, and then you just sew it together. So pretty standard construction, I suspect, like that. Sew those two together, and then it's done, really. These wrap round like that and tie at the back. So it's a really lovely little project. Lovely, nice pattern, very easy to understand and follow. Lots of half double crochets, American, UK half trebles. That's pretty much my favourite stitch, to be honest. So very much enjoying that, and very quick, you know, to say I've, you know, made it twice, more or less. That's very quick, and I'm very happy with it. I haven't got an awful lot of yarn left, but that's okay, because I am almost finished. I'm glancing down here because that's where my notes are. If I don't have my notes, unfortunately, at my last stage, it'll all come out as drivel, which is possible anyway. Okay, so that's the Adora in my little homemade bag. So what else? What next? The Arrowhead Beanie. Let's get you a picture of this. This is for hubby for Christmas, and let me just get a picture that doesn't include instructions. There we go. I haven't really made hats before, probably largely because I don't wear hats, but I think I might be a bit of a convert. They're pretty cool, aren't they? So I did a gauge swatch, 2 in 2 days, pretty impressive. Similar experience, the pattern wanted a 6mm hook. I did 4 gauge swatches and ended up down at a 4.5mm in order to get row gauge. Sorry, to get stitch gauge. But you guessed it, I was well off the row gauge, absolutely well off. The designer, bless her, I tagged her on Instagram on my post and she responded, so again, really brilliant. Who's it by, have I said? I've probably said here, haven't I? Anyway, very, very nice of her to get back to me. And she said, well, basically just give it a go with the row gauge, you should better continue and make it bigger. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way. I got to the bit where, you know, you see kind of increasing out to a flat bit and then you just carry on straight, and that makes that part of it. That just, after a few repeats of that, it just wasn't big enough to go on his head. So I ripped it all out and I started again. And with the hook that was recommended in the pattern. and it looks much better. I really don't know what I'm doing wrong with gauge swatches. I talked about it at Knit Group yesterday and they were saying, oh, you didn't do long enough gauge swatch, it was too short, and I don't know. I just know that whenever I have done one, it's not been any use. In fact, I am making up for the fact that crochet projects are much quicker than knitting projects by making everything twice. So I think I'm just going to stick with my usual plan of not bothering, and I probably won't end up frogging any more than I have done. So anyway, let's get on to it. I absolutely love this pattern. Absolutely love it. So there it is. It's in the same yarn as the white one. As you can see, I've frogged it and not got back to where I missed yet. So it's in that same yarn, but it's a different colourway, obviously. The colourway of the Adora top is shade white. Yes, who would have guessed that, eh? These imaginative colourway names. And this one is probably shade navy blue, but I will attempt to divine that. Delta, oh there you go, see, bit more imagination, shade Delta. So there it is. It's lovely. I am getting a little bit obsessed with front post double crochets. I mean, I've always loved them, but the main part of this, once you get to this part, is just a two round pattern, and you can clearly see where you are, and it's really easy to work out what's going on. Oh, it's an absolute joy to make. So I really, when I had to rip this out, I wasn't bothered, because I thought I just get to knit it, make it again. It is fabulous. The yarn is really nice too. To say it was quite a cheap one, it's really soft. It's much more open fabric, obviously, with 3 sizes up, but I think it's going to be okay. Nice. So I might well be a convert to hats. So I haven't done any work on that since I got back, but very, very happy with it. Right. So daughter number 2. I've talked about daughter number 1 and 3. Daughter number 2. What am I making for her? She only wanted a blue whale. So, wasabi. I've made one before for one of my eldest daughter's friends. So now, if you haven't come across Susan Claudino before, then I need to tell you this about her patterns. I made a lot of toys. I'm sure a lot of us have made a lot of toys before. They seem to be quick and easy and all that stuff, but they're a fiddly faffy pain in the neck, because you have all these little bits, all these limbs, and you have to sew them on and get them in the right place and make the stitching not too obvious, and get the eyes in the right place, and if they're in the wrong place, then you get this really weird looking kind of Stephen King looking doll. It's just scary. I don't like all of that, particularly the sewing on of the limbs. But there isn't any of that with Susan Claudino. I have done a lot of her stuff. I might have shown you this before, but I've done her rabbit, Bonbon. I've done her frog, Figaro, and the whale, Wasabi. So I was very happy to do another one of these. You don't have any sewing together. It's all done in part of the knitting. I'm not going to give away any of the design secrets, because she is a very talented designer. But there it is, Wasabi Whale. Let me find it. I think I've done you already. Let's get rid of these. I've got this great big, if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to see in this great big box I had full of all the stuff I was taking with me to on my holiday, and I still have it now, and I'm going to keep it because it's really, really useful. So I started Wasabi Whale with this. I bought this from a shop in Skipton. You know, I told you about the phase I went through of making those fingerless mitts for everybody. Well, it's chunky, super chunky in fact, which is perfect for that. And I thought, oh, I'll make lots of mitts with them. I never actually did that. I gave one ball to a friend, and I've tried a couple things with it. I've tried knitting with it. I've tried crocheting with it before that. Yeah, I think that was what it was. I think I tried a pair of mitts, but it's very difficult to see the distinct, once it's in a fabric, to see where to put your hook. You know what I mean? With crochet, you kind of need to know where to put your hook. It's why crocheting with eyelash yarn or anything like that is so difficult. So I didn't get on with crocheting with it. So I thought I'd try and she wanted a blue whale, making wasabi, but I didn't like it. I really didn't like knitting with it either. And then I made a little trip to Whitby Crafts, which is on Brunswick Street. So I popped along there. I had a very little chat with the lady there because I was giving her some flyers for Creative Escape, and she was very busy, which is good. So I intended to just have a quick look around, and always, you know, yarn shop on holiday, why not? And I found some yarn to buy. Now, you remember I was going on last time about going to a shop and buying really expensive yarn that I didn't love. Well, I completely turned myself around this time because I bought fairly reasonable yarn that I love. I have come across this stuff before. Have you come across it before? Signet Boho Spirit. So, you know, another of my obsessions with patterns was the window pane scarf, which I made into a cowl. Made loads of them. I showed you them last time, I think. I wanted to make some more for Christmas presents, just for people that I hadn't really thought of in advance, or people, I don't know, just for presents for random people. And I just love making them. They're so much fun and so easy to just take out and about with you. So when I saw this, I have used a skein of this. I can't find the project for it, which is a bit weird. But I made a window pane cowl for my mum-in-law for Christmas last year in a skein of this, because it's 100% acrylic, because she can't wear any wool close to her skin. So I know I love the yarn. It's got a kind of almost metallic sheen to it in places. It's lovely. So I wanted to get some of that, and I did. So this is probably my favourite. Well, no, it's not my favourite. I love rainbow stuff. You already know that. So those two will each make a cowl, and this one there, this one is definitely my favourite. Look at that. I mean, it's just an artwork in the skein. That in itself, in a frame, it's just perfect. And the fibres get everywhere. So this one is Moonbeam. I mean, Moonbeam. It's worth buying just for that. This one is called Festival, and this one is called Deep. Oh, that's funny. There's a big aquarium in Hull near us, all called the Deep, and we went there on Monday. That's called Deep. So I got those three, and I was happily about to purchase them when my daughters burst in through the door, and the middle one fell in love with this. And I said, oh, would you like your whale in this colour? Because I'd already decided I didn't like the fireside. And she said, yeah. So there we go. I couldn't remember the yardage that the pattern needed, so I actually bought two of these. So I suspect I'll only need one for wasabi. Does it say on there? Yarn, the weight of your choice, 40 grams of worsted. So I've got a 100-gram ball. I very much doubt that I will need any more than that. In fact, I'm pretty confident I won't. So I've got one ball for a cowl. A ball like that should probably do a double wrap cowl. But with the extra was left over from the wasabi, I should better do a triple wrap with that, which is my favourite. So that's my something new. But I'm really, really delighted with that purchase, because you know how cross I was with myself. Well, this £4 a ball, it was $3.99, and it is beautiful. The colours are just stunning. Can't wait to work those up. Anyway, so I started wasabi with it, and I can't find it. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Right, this is how far I've got. So you can see already it is looking beautiful. So the placement of the eyes is sorted. She you know exactly where to put them because she's got that sorted. And this is the point where you're meant to put the eyes in. And I didn't take the eyes with me, and I didn't take any stuffing with me. So this is as far as I could get. But it's a joy. Absolute joy. So, not an expert on these things, but it's really interesting because it's kind of a single, isn't it? Oh, not holding the right place. It's a single, isn't it? So it feels very soft and plump. And then they change the colour by, you can see there's two colours in there. Can you see? And that's how they change the colour by kind of, I don't know. It's beautiful. So I'll put the eyes in that and carry on with that. But obviously, as you might have noticed, oh, everything's stacked up and in a mess. I now have, is that the last one? No, it's not the last one. It's not even the last one of my whips. So, oh, also for child number 3, as well as the scarf, she had chosen a pair of gloves as well, but I looked at the pattern and I didn't understand it and I couldn't be bothered. So there's a hat that she wanted. Diamond Ridges hat. Absolutely lovely pattern. Again, let me find it for you. It's, there it is. Ah, Kristy Ashmore. And I just, you know, I've been saying for ages I want more crochet in my life. I have subliminally or deliberately, I don't know, almost all the projects for my family for Christmas are crochet. So I got my wish. I spent basically the whole week crocheting. Oh, what a holiday. It's like one of my knitting crochet retreats, but with my family. Perfect. So here it is. This yarn you've already seen because I half-inched this from this project. I've got another 1 or 2 of these. I half-inched this in this project when I decided that the love scarf needed a bit more stuff in it. So this is on A, and I didn't mess around into a gauge swatch or any of that malarkey. This is a 5mm hook. It's another one of my second-hand hooks. It's a metal one with an unknown history. This could have made 500 scarves. I don't know. It might have never been used before I got it, but I got it second-hand, and I just love that, the fact that I don't know its history. It could be considerably more experienced in the craft than I am. Anyway, I love it. Front post double crochets again. The only thing is that I can only kind of work on one of them at a time. So I worked on the Arrowhead beanie, and then I frogged it, and then I started the Diamond Ridges hat, and then I stopped working on this to work on the Arrowhead beanie again. Can't really kind of dip in and out of them because they're similar in the fact that you look at the work and you work out what to do next, but they're too similar to do at the same time, so I have to pick one of them and finish that off. But I think the sizing is going to be okay. The fabric's really thick, so I think it's going to be snuggly for her. It's lovely. I love the colour, you know me and teal. Gorgeous. So I'm really enjoying that, and I just think those 2 hats, if I sat down one evening, I could finish one of them just like that. So they're all kind of sat there just waiting. I have absolutely loved the cast on fest. It's not really called casting on with crochet, it's hooking fest. I had a hook fest for my holiday. Wonderful. I just loved it. And because crochet does tend to be quite a lot quicker, just felt like I'd made so much progress before I put it down the next day and started something else. I had a wonderful holiday. So my whip count is currently 9. And yeah, with another 2 solid days of work, I could probably knock off 4 of them. So, and you know, I've told you this before, when I can smell the end of a project, I get this kind of ferocious, predatory feeling, and I just can't leave it alone. I have to keep working on it to finish it. It's like when you get near the end of a book, you're in the last chapter and you just can't put it down, you've got to finish it. I'm like that. So I'm at the edge of a big explosion because I know all of those are quite close to, they're all time-wise quite close to being finished. So I love it. And interestingly enough, that was kind of all I was going to make for the family. But while we were away, I was with my sister-in-law, and she chose a shrug that she'd like. And my mum-in-law chose a hat that she would like. And my second daughter, who I'm just making the whale for, she's obsessed with bees. So I found the cutest thing, a bee pyjama case. And I'm going to make that for her. You'll see that in the next couple of weeks, I would think, in the next couple of episodes. And I love bunting. I haven't really come across it much before, but one of my favourite podcasters, Little Bobbins, she's got bunting in her, Danny, in her logo, and I love it. And at the house we stayed at in Whitby, the girls' room had wooden bunting. And she'd said how much she liked it. So I thought, do you want some crocheted bunting in your room? So she's going to have that, and I found a little pattern for tiny little bees, little softies, soft toys. So I'm going to make a couple of those, and I'm going to put on the bunting, and I'm going to put a bee. randomly in a couple of different places. So excited. I ordered the yarn for the bees and the bee pyjama case and the little bees, and for the bunting, and for the shrug for my sister-in-law from Moores, and I should get that, I would think, by the end of the week. Not sure about the colours for the bunting because she wanted pastel colours. I'm not sure she'll be happy with them when they come, but I'll order some more if necessary. So much more Christmas presents planned, which is wonderful. So I'm well into my Christmas knitting, and it's still at August, which is perfect. So what else? Festivals. There is a big festival coming up near here. It's called Yarndale. It's been going for not that long, 3-4 years, can't remember. It's in Skipton. There's a cattle market in Skipton which is used for a lot of different things, and this is one of the things it's used for. I went last year for the first time and I absolutely loved it. It's got a wonderful feel, really kind of, it's like the difference between walking around in Whitby where there's all these kind of indie shops, independent shops, and unique different shops and everything, as opposed to a city with all chains. It's like that. I'm sure the people who exhibit there are not markedly different, but it just has a feel of being more indie and special. Don't know. But I loved it last year and I'm going to go again this year. So it is Saturday the 29th and Sunday the 30th of September at Skipton, whatever did I say it was, cattle market, auction mart thing. I'm going on the Sunday. So if anybody else is going and would like to meet up for a coffee, just contact me and it would be great to just have a quick cup of tea together or whatever, and just look at what you've bought or what you're planning, exchange notes. So contact me on Mavorion or down here on YouTube if you want to meet up. It would be fab. I'm also going to be going to the Knitting and Stitching show in Harrogate, but that's not till November, so we'll talk about that later. Okay. So, a couple of things I'm planning. I've discovered a new YouTuber since I last spoke to you called Gemma B Makes. She's quite local to me actually, although obviously I haven't met her, but she lives in Leeds, which is in West Yorkshire, which is a different Yorkshire county. All 4 Yorkshire counties are huge. But she has been doing quite a bit of dressmaking, and I'm really intrigued by her idea of doing a dressmaking course. Because the clothes I really like are pretty simple design, but I tend to buy Italian made ones which are okay in price, but the fabric they're made from is really poor, and they tend to fall apart, and it's just such a shame. So I thought if I make a pattern from the things I've got and actually make my own, then I could make any I want, and I can make it out of lovely fabric, and if they break I can kind of remake them. Is that naive? Don't know. So, oh yeah, Shiloh, hello. Hello. So, you're not purring. What's up, Mrs? Hey? She's so lovely. Just have to kind of scratch her back and she goes, oh, that's nice. Can you hear her? Oh, that's nice. Do I have a funny voice when I'm talking to the cat? I remember Danny at Little Bobbins talking to her little dog, Bobbins, on camera, and then she put a note up saying, sorry about the voice, I didn't realise I do this. And I thought I'd probably do that the same myself. I do talk for her sometimes. My husband comes down in the morning and often says, hello cat, and I say, hello human, back for her. Yeah, there we go. So Gemma B Makes, really interesting podcast. She's got 5 episodes so far. And it's kind of like a diary as well, because she's got a little baby, so it's growing up and you get to see that. She does dressmaking, crochet, knitting, spinning. So it's really interesting for me because a lot of those things I'm interested in too. But anyway, she's inspired me. I think I'm going to try and book a dressmaking course for the autumn. And also macrame. Macrame, I think you call it in the US. When I was growing up, we lived in a 3-storey house, and the banisters of the stairs were covered in these hanging macrame baskets with flower plants in them, like spider spider plants, what are they called? Hanging plants all coming down from, my mum used to call it the hanging gardens of Babylon. And I associate macrame very much with that kind of 60s, 70s vibe. But my friend Amanda at Mooland Gifts, she is running a macrame workshop fairly soon. And it's not just about kind of plant holders, but also about just artwork and various other things. I've seen the macrame that Lindsay Noons has done. That's the Lottie and Albert podcast. And I just think, I want to have a go. And then my eldest daughter, I was talking to her about that yesterday, and she said, oh, I'd really love one of those pot holders, plant holders, those kind of 1970s ones. Oh, wow. That's sorted. So I'm really excited about that. I think I'll be podcasting again before that one, but anyway, I'll probably gas about it then as well. So, I think I'm done. If you enjoyed the episode, please click the thumbs up and subscribe if you want to know more. Click down below for the link to the show notes, which is over in Ravelry. There's the group. You can have a look at all the other stuff we're chatting about, including the knit along, the West along. And please do make a comment, get involved, just engage, say hello to me. I love it when people say hello to me. It's one of the most fun things about this whole podcasty thing. Yeah, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. I'm just going to see if I can do a close-up. There we go. How's that? Oh, it's not so good, is it? Oh, that's better. How beautiful is that? I love it. Right, okay. So, links to everything. You got that? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, whether you're a long-suffering, ongoing viewer or whether you're new and just trying to work out what on earth this is all about. Thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Do get in touch if you want to have a cup of tea. Okay, bye.